everyone, it's Catherine. Welcome to my channel, Read, Journal, Love. And today I wanted to do my first book review here on BookTube. And this book has been a very beneficial read for me as far as my reading life. And I really wanted to share it with everyone today because maybe it could be something helpful for you as well. So the book is called Lit. It's by Tony Reinke, and it's really good. The subtitle is A Christian Guide to Reading Books. And I just kind of wanted to share a little bit about the book with you. I first read the book, I think about 2.5 years ago, and I read it through Libby, which is the app through the library. And from my reading of that, I kind of changed my reading. And so recently I've been thinking that I need to redo that. And then there's a pastor that I follow. He's a Presbyterian pastor from Pennsylvania, Matthew Everhard, and I watch his videos, and I think that I'm not Presbyterian, but I find him very interesting. And so he does a lot of videos about like how he journals and takes notes and about his reading. And he's had two lately that just kind of got me thinking. One was about if you were to only read 100 books for the rest of your life, what would the 100 be? And that is kind of in a way to be a mastery of certain books instead of just like a consumer of multiple books, and just really understanding and knowing those books inside and out. And then he did one that talked about picking one theologian from every like epoch of church history and, focusing on that one. Those kind of got me thinking, and I'll post his channel below if you're interested. Like I said, I find him interesting. So all this got me thinking. So I reread this book again, Lit by Tony Reinke. The first thing I wanted to share, like this thing has been highlighted up. It has highlighted all over my Libby app, and then I've done it again. But I just thought that this opening quote was really good. Commit yourself to the serious reading of books, and your life will be enlightened. And that's just what's been on my mind. Like, why do I read? What do I want to be reading? How is this helping me in my spiritual life, in my mental life? Just asking myself all those kind of questions. And there was one part in the book that stuck out me the first time, and then again the second time. And I wanted to, this just also got me thinking. I've read my whole life. Like, I've always enjoyed reading. My reading has ebbed and flowed as like my life has ebbed and flowed. But now I'm in, as I'm older, I'm reading more, and I'm like, all the books, so little time, right? And this just really stuck out to me. It's kind of a longer it's like a couple paragraphs, but I wanted to read it. Likely you picked up this book because you want to read more books, an excellent goal. So let's visualize this. Imagine that you make the wildly ambitious goal of reading one book per week for the next 50 years. Lofty aspiration. If you remain faithful to the task, you will read about 2,600 books. Not bad for 5 decades of reading. Now, consider how many more books are available for you to read. In 2010, the minds at Google Books calculated that in human history, 129,864,880 different books have been published in various languages. But if I can only read in English, so let's whittle this number down a bit. Currently, the Library of Congress houses 18 million books. American publishers add another 200,000 titles to this each year. So that means at the current publishing rate, 10 million books will be added in the next 50 years. Add together the dusty Library of Congress volumes with the shiny new and forthcoming books, and you get a bookshelf whopping total of 28 million books available in the English reader in the next 50 years. But you can only read 600 because you are a wildly ambitious book devourer. These numbers aren't scientific, of course, but here is my point. For every one book that you choose to read, you must ignore 10,000 other books simply because you don't have the time or money. Book reading will make you actually aware of your personal limitations. So that got me thinking. And even in Matthew Everhard's video, he said this too, because we're very similar in age, but like, okay, so I'm 48. So that's not a lot. That's probably what, 20, 30 more years of reading. And if you like only devour like 100 a year, that's not a lot of books, and there's so much I want to read. So I've got to get it together if I want to grow in my reading life, So, and the first time I read the book, I came down to he talks about priorities, okay? And so I was like, I read how you did the prioritizing and everything, and I picked 5 things to prioritize. Well, looking back, they were rather vague, and they were more based on what I should do, like according to my roles, as an employee, as a wife, as a child of God. Like, they were based on that. And I haven't been real good at fulfilling those goals. I've been reading a lot, but not so much for those goals. So this time around, after reading, I decided that I want to, instead of a should read, I want to do a want to read. And I picked different categories, and I've been doing that the last half of this year, and I feel very happy with that. I think it's going to be fun for me, and which is what I want, but also beneficial. Sorry about that. My allergies are horrible right now. So I like this book the way that it's formatted. It's in 2 sections. The first one is just about reading as a Christian in regards to faith. The second half is all practical tips, and they are all very good. They have really helped me the last few years as I've read. I wanted to share one thing that I learned also from this book is to first start with like an overall scan of the book. I think he called it like, what is the skeleton, of the book? How's it formatted? What are the chapters like? Like this one, it's in 2 sections, and stuff like run a background check on the author, grab a pen, slowly x-ray the book. And that's what I'm talking about, like as far as like the formatting. Develop a strategy on how you want to read the book. Ask yourself some questions before you start that you would like to see answered at the end, because then he says that will help you in like reviewing, or thinking about how the book helped you, is did it answer your questions? Looking at what is its thesis basically, and then did he answer that, he or she, at the end? There's a whole bunch here, and they're just all really helpful. So if you're like me, you love to read, and you feel there's a lot out there and you don't have enough time to read them all, maybe think about prioritizing and planning your reading. He does talk about both nonfiction and fiction. I mean, he has a whole chapter about reading fantasy, which I thought it was like God slaying a dragon or something. And I thought that was really good. And I do want to read one next year. I was actually thinking about reading that Fantastasies book, and Anne recently reviewed it. I don't know, it kind of scares me because I am not a fantasy reader, but my husband is, and I know he'll be there for me as I read through it to answer any kind of questions about fantasy realms and stuff. So yeah, but anyways, it really has helped me. Like I said, this go around, I redesigned my goals, so to say, about what I want to read, and I gave myself categories that went with things I want to grow in, as far as a believer and as a woman. And I think it will be beneficial going forward until I have to redo this again. But I do want to do that mastery thing. Now, I don't know about 100 books for only the 100 for the rest of my life. I like new things, you know, I like to read the new fiction and stuff. And so I think I just made a category for myself called mastery that I want to do one a month. And so that will give me just something like I'm aiming, like I have a goal each month for that, but it's not like I'm not limiting myself to just that. I'm going to allow for a lot more other fun things. So I hope this was a good book review. Like I said, I've never done this before, and I have only watched a couple, but I really recommend this book. It really has helped me. And we're all busy. We all have lives, but we all love to read. And how can we balance this? And it answers a lot of questions and gives a lot of tips. So if you think that it's something you would enjoy, again, it's called Lit, and it's by Reinke. And I hope that you all have a chance to read it because I find it very beneficial. Okay, thank you.